So we will talk three things. First is about waste, second is stormwater, and the third one is about sidewalk. So let me get started with waste analysis. We picked one of the cities that is happening in Cambodia now is Sihanoukville. I'm not sure if how many of you familiar with Sihanoukville. This is the imagery that we took from Google back to 2017, 2013, and 2017. And we compare to 2019. You can see the scale of development between 2017 and 2019 is almost 100% change. From 2013 to 2017, the landscape is so green, which is very less development. But in just 2 years, the whole city has become developed. Almost every inch of the city became a construction place. So this is the imagery we took from our drone on the left, on your right hand, 2 months ago, and the first one is 2 years ago. So if you can see, in only 2 years, the whole city became construction place. Every inch, every corner, every green space turned to become a construction. So with this super fast and quick development, the city is not capable enough to cope with all this change. So it caused a major problem in the city right now. And I will pick one of them to talk now is about waste, and another one that we follow is about flood from a stormwater. So because we did not have enough time to understand the whole thing and to do all the study, we as a technology company try to understand what can we do to help a city to tackle this problem quicker and faster. So let me talk a little bit about waste. So when we get started into Sihanoukville 3 months ago, we understand that every place, every road, waste and garbage is everywhere. So we thought to ourselves, what can we do to get all this data? And we turned it into using AI and machine learning to understand and classification what kind of waste is available along the road and where are they. And where are the construction waste, where are the mixed waste, where are the commercial waste, where are the household waste. We spent a lot of time collecting almost 1 million imagery along the street and 500-kilometer road across the city. After we do all the collection and classification, we make a very beautiful map and dashboard which is allow management and citizen and government people to look at and understand the situation. So we can point out where and what waste are generated in the city. If you can see, there are 152 location waste and consist of 32 of them are the construction waste and 46 of them are the household waste. And we are not only generate waste location and type, we also tell people the volume at each of the location. So from low to high volume. So with all of this detailed information, it's not only give City Hall and government officer to understand the whole city problem, but also give a better alternative solution to the waste company to understand where they should collect the waste, what kind of truck they need, and how to get there. Moving next is about stormwater. Because the city developed very fast and quick, there's no drainage system have been built. It's not exist, never existed before, and in 2 years, it's not capable for the city, for Sihanoukville City Hall to build a drainage system. So we turn into using a technology, trying to see where can we solve this problem by discharging the water from the city. So we are using a technology for 3 purposes. One is to understand stormwater flow accumulation. We want to know if the rain is coming, where the water is accumulated at each catchment. And also we want to understand where the water flow, where are they coming and where are they going. And also we want to understand the obstacle of what have been blocked, because with construction that caused the water blocking from flowing out of the city. And after we understand all of that, we can predict and do recommendation how do we discharge the water from this canal, from this city. I have made a video of this technology that we've been built. This is the real technology that we've been built and real projects. We just completed this simulation about 10 days ago. Oh, sorry. Next slide. So there are two types of things that we can do in order to understand this simulation. Is we can use this technology, we call it ground survey, which is send a lot of people to do a ground survey in the city. But doing that costs a lot of time and resource, so we don't want to do it. So we're not going to use this one. So we turn to use drone technologies. We use only one drone and 3 people of our crew, and we fly over 3,000 hectares of the area. So this is the video that we made. Can you play? Yep. So if you can see the dark blue is coming from the top of the city. And you also can see the dark blue of the water keep spreading across the city and it's flowing down. However, this water, there's no place for them to release to the sea, even though it is on the seaside. But the water cannot release from the city because the road has been built alongside and block the water discharge area. So if you imagine back to the previous time that you're going to send 100 people using all of those ground checking, it's going to cost a lot of time and money. And we only did this using 3 people, 1 drone, and it takes us only 2 men to get this analysis done over 3,000 hectares of the city. And it's not an empty land. It is a city that's filled with huge construction. Next, it's about sidewalk innovation. This is a project that we work with City Hall on sidewalk innovation plan, because Phnom Penh has been exist for almost since 11th century. 11th century, and people are moving to stay in the city, and it costs a lot of congestion and a lot of public space have been used not properly. So this is the problem statement of City Hall Phnom Penh right now, which is there's no parking on the street, there's no public parking, and there's no sidewalk. More of the problem is coming from the construction. If you come to Phnom Penh in a day, you will see a lot of construction happening. Those construction have been taking over the sidewalk and some part of the road, become their construction site. And construction truck coming into the city without respecting the law, because they're not supposed to come on daytime, but they're doing it. So it's very difficult for City Hall to really protect that. And street vendor, they are doing it their daily life on the street, sidewalk and on the street. And they are doing this for many, many years, 10 or 20 years. So this is the current problem is happening in Phnom Penh. So Phnom Penh want to reclaim it, want to build a better city. So what can we do to analyze that before everything has been executed? So first thing first is to understand the side effect from sidewalk innovation to the community, because people have been living there for 20 years and 30 years. What happens if we renovate it? What happens if we tell them that they can't stop doing business in that sidewalk? So first thing first is to understand the people who are walking and affected with the people who are doing business on the sidewalk. Second, people riding bicycles. We want to understand how many of them, where are they going, where are they coming. People riding motor, where are they parking. What happens if they are doing maintenance, the utility work of the city? people using public transportation, where are they using it? How fast they can get to the bus stop, and how long they can get back? Is there any shade for them if there is hot? And how they get there if there's a rain? And what happens if we stop people from doing business along the road, along the sidewalk? And how about people who are living on the sidewalk? How many of them? And how about street vendor? If you stop them, what happened to street vendor, and what happened to the buyer of those food? And the last thing is, what happened to the disabled people? How do they get access to the city? So, so we took this process into 6 steps of the process. First is that as a company, we're going to review the policy that have been issued by the government and by the City Hall. And then we analyze using AI and machine learning to analyze the real situation of the city. Because it's going to take a lot of time for us to do manual work, so we turn into technology to have that. And then we will process it, give the report to the government and stakeholder involved. But before we execute anything, we will take the report to do a public engagement discussion. And then we will develop a prioritization methodologies before we start to do the work. So we do the analyze for 4 things on the sidewalk. Is public space availability, sidewalk usage, how many % people doing business, how many % people parking, how many % people living on the street, and we do sidewalk inventory, and then we do traffic signal and crossings and crosswalk to understand how it affects people walking. So we use 4 methods to do this analysis. Sidewalk and geoimagery, we do drone mapping, we do AI machine learning, and we do mobile spatial imagery mapping. We have been thinking, what if we're going to use these technologies? It's old traditional method is that getting people doing vehicle count and classification. This is the old method. It's going to take a lot of time, a lot of people, and it may not give you a very good accuracy. So we have been built this one thing. We're not going to use this one. Move on. Yep. So we built an AI and machine learning specifically for Phnom Penh, for Cambodia, to do this job. So if you see in this video, is that we do a vehicle classification and speed detection. The blue line, it tells us the people who coming out from the city. The yellow line is people go into the city. So we detect street vendor, we detect truck, we detect construction, we detect people walking, we detect motorbike, and we take their speed. With this information, give us a travel pattern, because we want to understand where are they coming from, where are they going, and what happens if we build sidewalk. What happens if we expand more lane? We want to understand road density. With this very little work, give us a lot of information about our city. So the plan is to do it on 11 major streets in Phnom Penh, as we colorize in this mapping. It's going to be a lot of work, but first thing first is we're going to collect it and analyze the data before we do anything else. Next. So, challenging that we are facing. We'll talk a little bit about challenging. Because to us, technology is one of the challenging that we can solve. But a lot of other challenging is that trust. As a very innovative company and local Cambodian company, it's very difficult to convince government agency to adopt these kind of technologies. And even if we get City Hall back us on the policy, back us on this project, we have to convince a lot of other departments. And communication is one of the very, very difficult, because we are not only communicate to City Hall, we need to communicate to citizens. Why we do things the way we do it? Because if not, they're not going to happy. So we have we find a different way to communicate to people, because people right now, they does not read. They look at the phone, they look at the photo, and they watch video. So I put this comparison. This is the policy that issued by City Hall, and this is what we translated. With this translation, it makes it very simple for anybody, everyone to understand. So everyone understand that why we do the way we do it. Because if you rely people on reading all the text, it's a very less chance that people will understand this. Next is down to earth. We need to do a lot of work, inch by inch, build from ground up. And it has to be community-centric. You need to learn about everything about local. You need to understand culture. You need to understand the behavior, the pattern. And we only can doing this because we spend a lot of our time talking to a lot of people along the street. So in conclusion, like never before, technology allows us to understand a modern living life that people spend living on a century-old city, allow us to understand how our citizens using public space, allow us to understand their travel pattern and their daily life, and how they are commuting. The last one would be, we believe that technology is gonna be there, and smart city is gonna be very important for the people who are living on the city. And technology will allow us to get all the data like never before, cheaper and faster. Thank you.